Welcome to Solve This Murder. I'm your detective, Bill.
And I'm your crime scene criminal and witnesses, Dani. We're on part 6 of the Hairdresser Homicide.
In part 5, I used Pearl's computer skills to hack into Liv's private documents.
In doing so, we learned that Liv's private client list had been wiped the day that her body was discovered.
And we also found out that Liv had recruited her friend Vera to be part of a sting operation to catch whoever it is who has been poaching her clients. Okay, so I know what happened. I know the murder. I know exactly how it happened. I know every step of the thing. I just don't know whose feet were taking those steps. We know that there was a sting operation. We know that Liv was... we don't know this, but I know that Liv was lying in wait in the office overnight to try and catch someone attempting to hack into her system. She caught that person killed her. I just don't know who that person is. So what I need to find out is I need some kind of final key, some final piece of evidence that links one of my suspects, one of my people floating around to that sting operation. Or, I now know that whoever did the murder is the one who was poaching the clients. It's not a separate side crime. It seems to be the inciting incident for this confrontation. It's why they were in the office. It's why they were confronted. It's why the murder happened. So how do I know who wanted to steal clients. I know 100% that Anthony Sachs was trying to steal.
That's an interesting point, though, because was he trying to steal her clients or just their information? It is a small difference, but difference with a distinction.
True. Either way,
with a difference. However that phrase goes.
Liv said that someone was contacting her clients?
She didn't go that far. She said I think she said was trying to skim or steal their information.
That's some classic Anthony Sachs.
So yeah.
We also know that Anthony was trying to recruit Pearl into that sort of investigation. We know that she has the capacity to steal it, but we also know Pearl has almost too much capacity to steal that. Doesn't seem like a thing she would do at 1 a.m. necessarily. She can just be like, she almost gave them to me in the middle of the day. She's like, here you go, here's the client list. She already knew it, right? So she's not coming in at midnight to poach that. She has access to it. She told me, literally, I've got access to that. I can just see it whenever you want. The only thing that is saving Liv's client list from Pearl's intervention is Pearl's apathy. So she doesn't feel like she fits the bill for who would be coming in at night to steal this stuff, right? She's got a key. She knows when Liv's around, but also she has access to that information. She can just get it. So I don't think she's coming in at night to steal it. However, she is the one who showed that it was stolen. That's like a classic thief thing to do. It's like, somebody stole it. It was here this morning. You should go look for them.
Yeah, well, no, maybe she deleted it as she was getting in.
So it could be her, but I don't think it quite fits. Anthony seems like it's him, but I don't know if he has done anything about this. Maddox may have wanted someone to do it from afar, but, I don't think he's actually involved. Marley doesn't feel like she has any huge motive. She works here. She's like a high rank. She's been here for 7 years. Is she maybe fed up and wants to steal Liv's business and start her own hairdressing studio? I don't know if she's made any plans like that. I don't know a huge amount about what Marley wants in life. I'm looking back at my notes over Marley. She's very low energy. Energy of a killer. She doesn't really know Liv's family very well. She knows the place does good business. She knew that Liv had secrets. While Marley sometimes does some accounting, but she doesn't do it for everything because she knew that Liv had secrets. Maybe she thinks she could do better and wants to excel in the hairdressing game by stealing clients from Liv. Maybe that's why she's working here. Was there any way I could figure out if she has been trying to do that or doing that? I need to find out if, do I know if there's been any hair salons that have been sold recently?
What you could do to call up is the whatever government bureau it is that deals with business registrations.
You're right, business registration. Ooh, I can check if she's got an ABN. Except we're not in A, necessarily. We're in some other country, maybe.
This feels pretty A.
Okay. So the question is whether Marley has done anything to act, like to give herself, to show a motive. Dani, I might make a quick call to the State Business Registrar. Detective Bill sits in a salon chair.
We've gone third person.
Detective Bill sits in a salon chair. His tall beehive hair under one of those weird little 50s housewife
Yeah, I don't know what those
chambers.
things are. I've never seen one of those in real life.
He's reading a copy of Better Homes and Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can see that his face is hidden by the magazine and nobody can see him. We see, walking through the business, Marley and Pearl trying their best to, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're going back into business. There's been a murder, but, they're hanging out.
Yeah, Marley's just been on the phone all morning just saying, nope, cancel it, stop that, put that on hold.
Anthony Sachs is standing by the window, looking out wistfully at the world beyond, a world that keeps kicking him when he's down.
Still trying to figure out whether he should keep or raise this place.
We see Maddox sitting with his feet up, covered in a lion pelt.
Judging everything around him.
His legs.
This is his first time being here.
His legs are two large, hip-high boots made from the feet of elephants. Faux elephant feet.
Oh, thank God.
It's rhino.
Oh, it's like mock turtle soup.
Is there anyone else who should be here? I think that's everybody.
How about Vera?
Vera, dressed as Fiona, stands in the corner.
Oh, God. What does Fiona dress like?
Vera. Johnny Cools is waiting outside, out of sight, with a taser in case anybody runs. Suddenly, Bill lowers the magazine, obscuring his face, and he says, well, 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 it looks like we're all finally here.
It does not initiate the series of shocked cries that Bill may have anticipated.
Why did I even set this scene up?
Although Maddox goes, ooh.
That's all I wanted. Bill stands up, his hair perfect, and he says, I have solved the crime, and I have brought you all here so I can show off while solving it. Please, take a seat.
Makes sense.
Do they take a seat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Johnny Cool sits down outside.
I can't see. He's hiding, so I'll assume he's standing. Yesterday, a tragedy happened. Liv's body was found, sitting in this very chair. I don't know why I chose to sit in this one. It's kind of gross. But she was found here. She was found by you two, Pearl and Marley. She'd been lying here most of the day.
Yeah, don't remind us.
I will remind you. That's the whole point of a denouement. To remind everybody of all the facts of the case. One of the people in this room is responsible for the murder of Olivia Sachs. And it wasn't me. I'm the cop. I'm the detective in this case.
They all stay quiet. No one is refuting this.
Damn. Has anyone been like, yes, I did it. It was me. In the end, it all comes down to the thing that made Hairmazement so hairmazing. Olivia's secret client list. A list of clients that allowed this business to stay so profitable and so mysterious. Fancy clients from the most important parts of the fashion and president industry. Because I'm pretty sure Obama was on that list. This is a list, of course, that was coveted by many. Maddox, I know you were jealous of the list.
It would have been mine, but, the way things happen, bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people, until they die.
Of course. You blamed Liv for the struggling business that you run of Nirvana.
Well, of course, it was her fault.
Of course, because she stole your precious notebook and you don't remember anything.
Precisely. She stole the wisdom of my mentors.
Interesting. Anthony You also coveted this list. You thought it might help you start your own business, yet another venture that hopefully this time wouldn't fail.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, but it's not like I was going to ruin her business by, getting the little bit of help from knowing some names, right?
No, of course not. You'd never try and harm your sister or her business, even if you were on your last legs, running out of money, living at home with your oddly aged parents. But no, Anthony, you wouldn't have hurt your sister.
Oh, thank God.
Of course, you always wanted the list, but you had your own methods of trying to achieve it. You were in contact with Pearl, who you were trying to convince to give you the information on Liv's clients.
Yeah, but she didn't. Like, tell him you didn't. Nah.
Exactly. Liv was already worried that someone was stealing her clients' information and going after them, but we know that Pearl had given you nothing. She was toying with you and giving you no information at all. So, of course, you couldn't be the person that Liv was trying to catch in her honeypot. I turned to Vera. This is Vera Groom.
So I Googled honeypot, and it's an interesting way that you're using it, but I suppose I'll accept it.
It isn't really appropriate, but this is Vera Groom, the honey of said pot.
Hi, yeah, sorry, you two, Molly, Pearl. Yeah, sorry for lying. It wasn't my idea.
Liv hired. Well, not hired. Your friends. Liv asked Vera to pose as renowned hermit Fiona Sainsbury to compel this thief, this stealer of clientele to appear in front of her. Now, we know this couldn't have been Anthony Sachs, because Anthony has failed miserably at everything he's done, including trying to get his hands on this client's list.
Would have been really good to be able to do interior design for Fiona Sainsbury. She knows everybody.
But nobody knows her. How ironic. It couldn't have been Anthony because he hasn't been able to get his hands on any information, so he couldn't have been setting off Liv's alarms. But whoever it was that Liv was trying to trap, that is who did the murder. So who could it be? Well, could it be Pearl? If anything, Pearl is too talented to be caught in this trap.
Ooh, I'm going to start using that.
Pearl has access to all of Liv's secret client information. We know that because she tried to give it to me earlier today. And
Molly just goes, yeah, that tracks.
Pearl is a whiz at computers and would never leave tracks that Liv could follow. Nor would you need to come in the middle of the night to pull off such a deception. No, Pearl can access this information whenever she wants. She just doesn't really want to.
I mean, it's really, it's hair. It's cool to be able to make it do pretty things, but...
But no, Pearl, this isn't your dream industry, is it? What do you want to do when you grow up, Pearl? You want to be a cop like me, don't you? Pearl has access to all this information, but she doesn't need it. She doesn't want it.
I mean, I am good at the whole hair thing. Like, I'm pretty good at it.
Oh, you're good at everything, Pearl. The one thing, of course, that Pearl isn't good at is keeping things secure. She's perfectly happy to hack into a password, but when it comes to making sure she sets her own, Pearl often leaves things open. And it looks like perhaps whoever was taking the information was hoping to take advantage of things like that. Come in late at night, find files that Pearl had left unprotected, and take them for themselves. But who could have done that? Who would want to do a thing like that? Who cares so much about that list and about the industry and about their success that they would come in at night and try and steal secrets from Liv? Well, earlier today, I placed a call. A call to the State Business Registrar! I hope to get more of a reaction from that, but I don't know if anybody cares.
Some of them look like they're a little surprised, but that seems to have come out of nowhere. Pearl looks like she's not sure what that is, but out of all of the people here, she's probably the only one who hasn't had dealings with them at some point in the past.
Now, of course, most of you have had dealings with the state registrar in the past. Anthony?
I mean, yeah, of course. I'm trying to do my own business thing.
Yes. Look, many businesses. I've noticed your name on quite a lot of businesses. Probably far too many.
Not that. Okay.
2,000 different businesses, Anthony, that you've started in the last 4 days. No, that's not true.
You know what costs money each time?
Yeah, be better with your money, Anthony. But there was nothing in your list of businesses that didn't match your sad, sad story. Of course, my first thought was to check on Marley, to see if perhaps recently Marley had started her own business, maybe set up to prepare for opening her own salon with the secrets she'd stolen from Liv.
Well, I assume you were disappointed then.
Yes, of course, Marley. I couldn't find any business being opened under your name. But then, of course, there is the elephant in the room. I point to Maddox's feet. Maddox, it appears, despite your own business, which is not doing quite so well, you thought it prudent to open a new salon.
Well, sometimes we need rejuvenation in our lives, and so, yes, Nirvana was going to become a more secondary project to the new salon treatment facility.
Called?
Limbo.
Oh, good. I wasn't sure if you had a name. Limbo, of course. And it struck me that anybody who's starting their own business, especially when their current business is failing, must have some extra hidden secret that they're relying on. Perhaps whoever registered a new business is using the fact that they have access to Liv's special client list to be sure that their business will succeed. Perhaps whoever is starting that business was the one who was here the night before last, scissors in hand, and who was caught in Liv's trap, and who killed her when they were caught, who freaked out, cleaned the whole area, and left her body in the middle of the salon and left.
Are you forgetting that I told you very clearly that I was in the most serious rehab stint of my life?
No, I'm not forgetting, Maddox. And look, I did look into that, and your alibi checks out. You weren't here. And so it seems like I'd hit a dead end. But then I dug a little deeper. I found it interesting that people would take you on for the loans that you needed to start this business, given how poorly Nirvana is faring at the moment. And I thought, why would they agree? Why would banks agree to give you the loans to start a new business? Why would the business registrar be so comfortable with all of this? But it was because, Maddox, you weren't applying alone, were you? You had a guarantor, a business partner whose expertise and resources were enough to secure you these loans, keep you firm in the knowledge that this new business would succeed. Somebody who had been working for the most successful hair salon in the tri-state area. This went out of the tri-state area. One Marley Fenwick.
Marley shifts in her seat.
And what is it that Marley could supply you, Maddox? Is it that Marley had access to Liv's clientele? Is it that if we search her right now, we will find a USB in her right pocket that has the client list unlocked on the computer? Pearl, we know, had been checking it this morning, and of course, she didn't re-password protect that file, and Marley took her chance to do what she failed to do on the night of the murder, and download those files onto her USB to give to you so she can keep contact with all of the clients. She has the pre-existing relationships as well. She can bring them all to this new business. Isn't that right, Marley?
I don't know what you expect me to say to that.
I expect you to say nothing. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can and will be held. I don't know. You're a criminal.
I mean, yeah, no, this is ridiculous. Why would I do such a thing?
Because, Marley, you care. Because you want to be the greatest hairdresser that this town has ever seen, that the world has ever seen. You've worked here for 7 years, biding your time, trying to create your own name in the industry. You didn't like the decisions that Liv was making with the business. You knew that her biggest draw was the client list, but you watched her spending thousands of dollars on pointless hair products from strange suppliers, and you thought, no, I could do this better. I could do this better than Liv. I should be the greatest name in hairdressing. Me, Marley Fenwick! So you called up and you tried to take the reins yourself. You tried to cancel the orders that Liv was making. She complained about a cancellation when she had to leave last minute to go and get her supplies. You were hoping that she wouldn't do that, but she did. But you overstepped. Cancelling this secret order from her secret suppliers, Liv knew that something was wrong. You couldn't stand to see her waste that money, but she knew that somebody had found out about her secrets and had stepped in to change things. At that point, she knew that her personal, private information was not quite as private as she had hoped, so she set up her honeypot. She quickly emailed Vera, got her in as fake Fiona Sainsbury, and that was a bait that was too juicy for you to pass up, wasn't it, Marley? You came in the evening trying to get Fiona's details, but when you arrived in the office, Liv was there, sitting in a high-backed chair. She turned around and she said, I've been expecting you. And she stood up to confront you. Worried about the confrontation, you panicked. You reached for the nearest pair of shears and hair scissors and you cut her throat as she tried to confront you about your crimes. You didn't know what to do. You freaked out. You tried to clean up the scene so no one would know, but you didn't know what to do with the body because you didn't plan the murder, did you, Marley? You didn't have a spot to bury a body. You were caught out. So you did the only thing you could think of doing. You tried to hide the body in plain sight. You thought you could buy yourself some time. Maybe in the morning you'd have time to stay in the office working. When you said that you were in the office all morning doing accounting, you weren't doing accounting. You were looking through the old files, trying to find what it is you needed. After Pearl had used the computer this morning, you thought perhaps she may have revealed the files that you were hoping to find. So you sent Pearl out onto the floor to deal with any clients who arrived, and you took the opportunity to do your own accounting, or as I like to call it, theft of client lists. And you thought you could buy yourself enough time to get the information and leave, but what you didn't count on was how much time you'd be spending in prison. Johnny Cools! Johnny runs in.
He leaps
with
in,
a
he
taser.
tases her.
He tases everybody. He's tasing left and right.
Yeah.
He tases me. He tases himself.
The problem is, Maddox being, considering what he's wearing,
He can't get tased.
he's immune, so he's sitting there looking very comfortable. And Maddox turns to you and he says, you know, the funny part about all of this is that she actually messaged me just this morning saying to put the loan business on hold because she might be inheriting the manager position here once Anthony took over as owner. So we now have no financial connections whatsoever. Isn't that funny?
Oh, Maddox.
I think I got everything I wanted. Hey, Anthony, how would you like a business partner in the industry?
And it all ends well for the Elephant Man. All right, that's it. Denouement done.
As all good murder mysteries do, with a good group tasing.
Yeah, that's it. My notes now have the word Marley in giant letters at the bottom of my notes. But yeah, look at that. That was a nice kind of like clean little mystery. I liked it.
I think it worked.
It worked very well. I started getting a tiny bit confused at one point by like people's like countering motivations, especially the whole Anthony and Pearl position, where it's like Anthony was working with Pearl to achieve his own goals, but Pearl wasn't really working with Anthony because she just didn't care that much.
Yeah.
You know, and that, I think I got a little bit confused into that clash, like of trying to think through like, oh, and Pearl's in this secret, it's like, she's not doing anything secret. She's just being Pearl. And people are trying to use her. But I think other than, like, that was the thing that caught me for a little bit, trying to focus in on the motivations. And I think it pulled me at first a little bit away from Marley. But that's like the classic murder mystery killer thing of like, just like clearly having her own stuff going, but trying to be like, no, you look at the people who have been all flashy around me, and I'll just keep being evil underneath.
Had you asked Pearl about the whole marriage thing with Anthony, she would have just basically said, oh yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to do any business stuff with someone, you've got to have a contract, but, business contract, blah, you got to do stuff.
So she wanted a marriage contract?
Yeah, that's the one where it's a contract. You get a lot of their stuff. You've got a mutual agreement with them, but you don't have to do anything.
Oh, Pearl, what a weirdo. But nice. It was good. And I like that. I really like that I had this moment. I don't know if we've had this in another one. I feel like in other ones, I've kind of thought, oh, I know who did it. Now let me work out how. But this was really cool to have I knew exactly what played out. I knew exactly what all the motivations for the murderer was, and I just needed to pin those motivations on a person. And that was really fun. I really liked that idea. Like when I had the construction in my head, I could picture exactly how the murder happened. I just had a faceless person on the other end. And it's like, who could fill in that space? And I really liked that as a way of getting to the end there.
Yeah, it was different. And there are things like that, and they can be very frustrating to read in the Poirots and what have you, where he does just finish a chapter right before the denouement with, you just got to make a phone call. And you have, maybe you don't know who it is, or maybe it just sounds like something totally irrelevant, like, I need to see a man about a chimp. And then it becomes completely relevant, but at the time you have no idea what he's talking about. But then it turned out that was the key evidence.
Yeah, and in this case it was the call to the state business registrar, just someone who was saying, has anybody registered a new business? Because you're right, it was like, I knew what the motivations were for the murderer, and I knew that a few people had things that could be that motivation. We know that Anthony wanted the client list, and we know that Maddox probably wanted a client list.
But then that's just what happens when you're friends with famous people.
And so it was trying to find the final little key of who is acting as if they had that client list? Who is acting as if they have achieved that? Because when she set the plan, when she set that trap, Liv was it proved that whoever had done this had already obtained the thing. Anthony wasn't acting like a person who has obtained partial client list.
Yeah.
He was acting like someone who needed to. If he had been the murderer, why was his business failing? He's already been poaching clients on the side to collect them for, he would just be acting on that.
Yep.
And he obviously wasn't. So it was even though he had all the motivations, he didn't have, once we keyed in that someone was already profiting from their crime almost, already doing it.
Yeah, with an asterisk. They're already doing it. This new hair salon hadn't happened.
But someone was clearly doing stuff already. And Anthony was acting like someone who would gain a lot if she died, but had no capacity to gain other than that.
Yeah, before she died, stuff was going on.
But stuff was already happening. So we kind of eliminated him. We brought in a few other people, and it was
incidentally, the fact that she did die gave him everything he wanted in one way, but if this had been his plan, it would have totally messed everything up, which a little bit it did for Marley.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Do you recall, right before the denouement happened, she was going around calling, saying, cancel this, put this on hold. It was all that sort of stuff. She was trying to get this loan business culled.
Yeah, because now she could just run the business the way she wanted to.
Yep.
Right?
This place was, as soon as Anthony had gotten it in his head that he could just leave the business running in her hands, which I think you suggested to him.
I did.
That suddenly changed everything and made it okay.
Yeah, it changed the plans.
And if there was no connection between her and Maddox, and then it just looked like she fortuitously was given what she wanted, not that she'd been actively seeking it out, it would have been great.
It would have been great for her. She could have really made her mark. She needed Liv out of the way, and originally her plan was to get out of Liv's way and go start her own business, but, at the time,
and like we said, it's a really harsh competitive industry.
It's a cutthroat industry.
People poach clients. It's a thing that happens. Liv may or may not have stolen Maddox's notes. She probably did.
She probably did.
That's probably what made her hyper aware that this sort of thing could happen.
Yeah. Oh, it was lots of fun. I really liked it. What a fun little cast of people. I like them. I hope someone drew Maddox. Sent us some fan art.
In one of his many forms.
Yeah. Have you drawn his second form? His safari hunter monstrosity form?
It is funny that in my notes, he was the last character that I came up with, to the point where he doesn't even have a name in my notes, which is it's a robbery, really.
He's so great.
I know. Maddox is just the name that came out of my mouth on the spot.
Really?
Yep.
You didn't have it. Danny, maybe you should have given him a name.
Are you saying Maddox didn't work?
No, Maddox is fine, but it feels like you should have written down Maddox before we started. I loved it. It was great fun. It really came together really well.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for sticking with us, especially after, a year's break or whatever. These ones are just bizarrely intense, more intense than anything else that we create.
Yes,
so
but I hope you've enjoyed
this
6-episode kind of new mystery.
I think we had more fun doing this one than
I
we
really
have
did. It was great.
In previous ones. So maybe it's a dawn of a new era.
It's the dawn of a new era. Don't know when the next one will come out, though, but it's the dawn of a new era. We'll be back. In the meantime, go and listen to Escape This Podcast. It's our other show, which is very regular. There's always a new episode of that coming out.
Check out our Twitch channel, _live.
Yeah, if you like us talking through the solving of mysteries and murders, you should catch up on our Nancy Drew streams, where we play every single Nancy Drew game.
Yep, very puzzle heavy, but also typically very mystery, criminal, often murder, mystery themed.
So if you want to see us pull our hair out trying to figure out who exactly is the shadow at Water's Edge, you should go and check out those as well. In fact, I'll put a link to that in the show notes of this episode. But thank you all for supporting the show. It's wonderful to have you all listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And the other mysteries you can get if you want is if you support our network on Patreon, you get access to a whole bunch of new fun stuff, including for all our $5 donors, an entire series of fortnightly mysteries that we solve. They're called the 2-Minute Mysteries, based on the books written by Donald J. Sobel. So we read through those, we try and predict what might happen, we solve the murders, and it's a great fun little sideshow, as well as all the other fun stuff that you can get for supporting us on Patreon.
Yeah, that's our Patreon that's under Consume This Media, right? So it's in conjunction with Escape This Podcast. So if you're a fan of that one as well, you get all of the bonus things that are associated with that one too. If you do that, give us a shout, send us a message saying which of our shows it is that you like.
And a fun little Solve This Murder perk for our Patreons. If you love to binge rather than wait, this 6-part mystery released all on the same day for our Patreon subscribers, rather than weekly releases that we do out here. So if you're a binger, if you prefer to binge your podcasts, maybe that's something else that you would enjoy for as a Patreon perk. Well, thank you everybody for listening. You're all very cool. Every single one, especially you. That's right, yes, you. Oh, not you, sorry. But you're especially cool. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Solve This Murder is created by Bill Sunderland and Dani Siller as part of the Consume This Media network. To find out more about all of our shows, you can head to consumethismedia.com. If you want to try your hand at solving this murder yourself, send your current theory in to solvethismurderpod@gmail.com and you may end up on our wall of detectives. A special thank you to Jared, Devon and Whit from the podcast Advanced Sagebrush and Shootouts for creating our theme music. And thanks to all of you for listening.